Hi, everybody. I'm Joshua Waller. I'm the Director of Technical Evangelism at Phala Network, and I'm going to talk about how to build an Oracle on request for any parachain with a low-code solution. Here's some of my info as well if you want to connect with me outside of this. But most importantly, I'm very excited to be here today because Phala Network has gone live with our Phat Contracts on mainnet on Phala Network, which is a parachain on Polkadot. And I'm just really excited to kind of show you some of the capabilities we have today and going into this next just to give you like a high-level overview of what we're going to talk about today. So first, I'm going to give you a little introduction about some of the past demos that we've done and workshops to kind of show you like what the capabilities we have shown, and then some of the shortfalls that we've come into as well when it comes to providing this technology, because we've done a lot of great things, but we still had a little bit of trouble getting developers to build on our protocol. So then that kind of led us to this idea of building this low-code solution to get developers in the door. And this is what we call Phat Bricks. And I'll introduce this later, and I'll also give you a little demo of how this functionality works and how it works today with our first blueprint. And then I will show you some of the next details of our upcoming developments to be able to then show you how to connect your substrate chain to our blueprints and be able to then see how we could enable developers to build a more customized solution with a little bit of JavaScript. All right, so just to kind of talk about some of the past technical workshops. So last year during Decoded, we provided the GitHub attestation where this will be like towards the demo area, but here. So it was a GitHub attestation that you would post as a gist on GitHub, and with the derived key pair within our Phat contract, we're able to then post this message. So this gist is owned by this address, and from there we would be able to verify after to then airdrop a POAP code to the user that completed the easy Oracle for our GitHub attestation. And this was a year ago, but it took a lot of different work, and the Phat contracts that you were developing last year are a lot different since we've made them production ready for our mainnet. So this is one of our pain points of getting, we had an introduction, but a low participation. And then one of our recent technical workshops was kind of introducing our Hello World program in Phat Contracts, which is called the Phat Hello. And here you were able to query Etherscan's API from the Phat contract and query an Etherscan balance. So here we are looking for the account balance for this account. And then we're able to get that information here returned from the function through our Phat UI interface. And then finally at Sub-Zero, where I was at in November, we displayed a substrate price feed Oracle where you integrate an off-chain rollup palette into your runtime. And then we're able to then have users provide oracles from CoinGecko, Oracle price feeds from CoinGecko. So in this case, we had our substrate factory where a user would come here, and then they would define a price feed. So in this case, Polkadot and USD. And then they would deploy this. And this was Hong's feed whenever he did his test. But it would show your result and when it was created. And then we would show here the price feed here where it has the price on substrate. But there was like a lot of steps, a lot of disconnections, and developers, they did kind of understand, but we still had trouble seeing more developers build on top of this technology, though it's powerful. And this is kind of what led us to where we're heading today and what I will demo to you as well. So just to give like a high-level overview of Phat contracts, these are ink-based contracts written in Rust and the ink language, which is developed by Parity. And these are running in our secure enclave off-chain workers. So now you have like more capabilities where you can interface with the internet and make HTTP requests, and then also connect to your different smart contracts through our off-chain rollup architecture. And this allows you to then create this like request and response model to be able to get access to this off-chain data and really build out these robust and flexible applications for your products in Web3. So just to give you a nice high-level overview here for on-chain verification, off-chain compute, since Phala network is a parachain on Polkadot, we are inheriting their security here for this level based on the Phala parachain. And then we have our verifiable computation, which means all of our off-chain workers are registered through the remote attestation process. And in this case, your secure enclaves will be running the Phat contracts within that secure enclave. So there's a double safe and like a secure and privacy guarantee by default. And just to give you like another high-level diagram here, as you can see, like the developer will then upload and instantiate a contract that you can verify on-chain. And then interacting with the contract will be loaded, and because a derived key that represents the contract ID will be loaded into the secure enclave worker. And then when a user wants to connect to it, it will connect directly to the worker and then be able to interact. And where most of the power here comes is through the queries. So typically, you're not going to make any transactions. Your idea is to stake to get your percentage of the compute of the cluster of workers, which is one to many workers that are added to this cluster. And then you're going to make queries to make these HTTP requests to connect to different endpoints, whether they're Web 2 or Web 3 APIs. So if you're not an expert in Rust, this is where I'll lead into the little bit of the demo for the time I have, where we call this the low-code experience Phat Bricks. And this is a little view of like what it looks like. And here's like some of these templates that were pre-written by the Phala network team, because who's better to write these Phat contracts than Phala network team? And here we're going to show you like how you can actually embed a little bit of JavaScript to transform that data that we're querying, and in this case, from the Lens API from Polygon's network. So here I'm going to show you the UI for Phat Bricks. So this is our testnet right now. We also have this live on our mainnet if you want to try it out. That's bricks.phala.network. So here is my my dashboard here where I'm able to deploy my my blueprints, which are composed of these different Phat bricks. So in this case, let's just start a new one just to show you the process. Here's like a high-level look at how this off-chain rollup architecture works for this request and response model. So you deploy your consumer contract on, in this case, like an EVM-based chain, and you're able to then say, I want to request this data from this API, in this case, the Lens API, and the Phat contract will be polling continuously every, right now it's every 5 seconds, and it will be seeing if there's any actions it needs to fulfill. So once it sees there's an action it needs to fulfill, it pops it off the queue, and then executes that, it interacts with this off-chain data, does the computation if you do a little bit of custom computation on there through the JavaScript that you can embed, and then returns the request back to the chain so that the consumer smart contract on Polygon can consume that data. So here you would just name it, in this case, Decoded 2023. We can go to next. And here you can see that you'll get like some mock-ups of what the HTTP request data will return. And in this case, you can pick user stats or post stats. It'll have all these different. So in this case, we'll go here, and then you'll pick a field. So you go based off of followers, and then this is like your results preview. So here, you can then actually write a little bit of JavaScript here. And from there, you can say this. And then just say if the total followers is greater than 3,000. You can do any kind of like arbitrary logic here, and then return an answer, return 1, else return 0. But anyways, I had already deployed one before this, so I don't have to go through all of this. So let's go back to the dashboard here, go to the one that's currently running. And here you can see this is the consumer contract that I had deployed, where if you submit a request, you're going to get a response. I wrote a little custom JavaScript to return either 1, 2, or 3. So if they were a 3, then they were greater than 1,000 followers, I believe. So in this case, we were querying for 1, and they had a value of 3. But let's say, let's just do another request. So in this case, I want to push a request for another account. So I'll push a request here. And, oops. Get deployed. Actually, I'll just interact directly with the contract. Got 5 minutes. So here I'll 2. So while we're allowing this to update with the request, we can go back to the presentation and show you what's to come as well, because running low on time. Oops. Yeah, we can go past this. All right, and I showed this slide earlier just to show you like the request and response model here for your action requests. In this case, any EVM chain. So this is how it would work for an EVM chain. And then for the price feed oracle, like I showed earlier, just to show you like these are like the building blocks of the off-chain rollup request and response programming model. We are compatible with EVM and Substrate. We have templates in our repo called the Phat Bricks and the Phat Off-Chain Rollup repos in our GitHub. And then like building block number 2 is embedding like a little bit of JavaScript like with the quick.js engine in a single Phat contract, which this brings you a little more customization and is a little more developer friendly to non-Web3 native developers or non-Rust developers as well. And here is kind of like where our blueprint will go next. So as you can see, you can integrate the off-chain rollup palette in your runtime. You can have this push request for requesting some information, and then have an on response whenever this custom JavaScript that you're writing. You can send out different API requests to the different endpoints, run some custom computation, return that response back to your chain, so now that your chain can consume it. And this also can be customized to your chain's needs as well. So depending on what your substrate-based chain is, you can just integrate this in your runtime, the palette, the off-chain rollup palette, and then build out some custom functionality and have a truly custom like off-chain configurable program for your products. So this is just like a little look of what the trait that you need to implement on response. So whenever you're getting a response from the Phat contracts running off chain, I am running low on time as well. But when it receives this action reply, it's going to hit the callback and then of this trait response, and you can actually do one-to-many on responses based on whatever you're configuring for your substrate-based chain. So this is going to be a look at what the wireframes are going to be for the quick.js blueprint. So here, same. Here you have your substrate custom Oracle, and going into the next, we'll give you some like example code of how easy it is to read, write, commit, push an action on the queue, push another request, and then pop an action request off the queue, and then execute, and then reply with an action reply. So this is just the project name, like I kind of showed a little bit earlier. And these are some example codes of how you would write the JavaScript so that you can, either if you want to connect to different Phat contracts that you've already deployed, or send HTTP requests, and you can send one to many within one method, and then be able to also put some error checking as well. So if you want to get on our wait list for other substrate chains that want to have this off-chain data quickly integrated into your protocol, just scan the QR code, add your proposal in our blueprint proposals, and just to let you know, like most of these implementations, they take maybe a month, maybe two, if we're having to have a backlog, but most of the implementations that we have done, whenever we're targeted on them, take about 2 weeks. So just to let you know, you can get started and fast and have off-chain data really quick with secure and privacy by default in this case. And I'm going to go really quick and check here. So that was my request 4 minutes ago, and it replied 4 minutes ago with the information. And here you can say I queried 2, and I returned a value of 2 as well. So that's the power of Phat Contracts, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to talk a little bit more and understand more about our protocol, just please reach out to me or the team. And yep, thank you.